Princess Mira sat by the large window of the royal chamber, staring at the stars beyond. The soft blue light of the Xanteri moon spilled into the room, casting gentle shadows on the smooth silver walls. But Mira's thoughts were far from peaceful. Today was the day her life would change forever. Her father, Emperor Callan, had called her to the throne room that morning with a serious look on his face. Mira had entered nervously, unsure what he wanted to say. Now, she knew. He had given her an order, a royal decree that shocked her to the core. "You must marry a human," the emperor said, his voice firm but calm. Mira blinked in disbelief. "A human? But father, why? Humans are so different from us. I barely know anything about their ways." Emperor Callan's face remained steady. "This is not just about us, Mira. The galaxy is changing. There are new threats, new alliances. The humans are strong and growing powerful. Their warriors are feared everywhere. This marriage will unite our people and bring strength to the empire." Mira's heart pounded. She had heard stories about humans brave, clever, but also ruthless in war. The man she was to marry was a human warrior named Ryan. He was famous across the stars for his cold and ruthless battle tactics. To Mira, that sounded frightening. "I don't want to marry a man who is known for being cruel," she said quietly. "What if he does not care for me? What if I become just a pawn in his game?" Emperor Callan's eyes softened slightly. "I understand your fears, daughter. But you must trust me. Ryan is not just a warrior, he is loyal to his people and will protect you. This marriage is important for the future of the Xanteri Empire and for the peace of the galaxy." Mira wanted to argue more, but she knew it was useless. In the end, the Emperor's word was law. She bowed her head, feeling a weight settle on her chest. That evening, Mira's closest friend, Talo, visited her. Talo was a young scholar who loved to learn about other worlds. She had always been kind to Mira and often helped her with her doubts. "Mira, I know you're worried," Talo said gently, sitting beside her on the cushioned seat. "But maybe this human warrior isn't as bad as the stories say. Humans have many sides, just like us." Mira sighed. "I hope you're right. But how can I face someone who is known to be so ruthless? I don't even know what he looks like." Talo smiled. "You will meet him soon. And then you can decide for yourself. Sometimes, fear comes from not knowing. Maybe if you learn more about him, your fear will go away." Mira nodded, but the thought of meeting Ryan made her stomach twist. What if he was nothing like the gentleman of her world? What if he was cold and distant, like the stories told? That night, sleep came slowly. Mira lay awake, thinking about the future. She imagined the human warrior strong, silent and frightening. But also, maybe, someone who could be her partner in a galaxy full of danger. The next morning, the royal ship was ready to take Mira to the human warship where she would meet Ryan. The halls of the palace buzzed with whispers. Everyone was curious about the marriage and the strange human warrior. As Mira walked to the ship, she saw her father watching her from a distance. His face was unreadable, but she knew he believed in this alliance. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. The journey to the human warship was long but smooth. When the ship finally docked, Mira's heart raced. She stepped inside the great vessel, feeling the hum of powerful engines and the sharp scent of metal and oil. She was led to the command room, where she would meet Ryan. The door slid open, and there he stood. Ryan was tall and strong, with dark eyes that looked directly at her. His face was serious but calm. He wore a simple uniform, not the heavy armor Mira had imagined. His voice was steady when he spoke. "Princess Mira," he said. "I have heard much about you. I hope we can work together." Mira blinked, surprised. This man was not the ruthless monster she had feared. His eyes showed respect, not cruelty. "I hope so too," she replied softly. They spoke for a short time, learning about each other. Ryan was honest and direct. He explained that his reputation came from years of defending his people in dangerous wars. But he cared deeply for those close to him and believed in loyalty above all. Mira felt her fear begin to fade. Maybe this marriage was not the punishment she had imagined. Maybe, just maybe, it was a chance to build something new. As the stars shone outside the windows of the human warship, two very different people began a story that would change the fate of their worlds. The great hall of the human warship was unlike anything Princess Mira had ever seen. The walls were made of shining metal plates, smooth and cold to the touch. Bright lights hung from the ceiling, and everywhere she looked, machines hummed softly. The air smelled faintly of oil and metal, very different from the sweet flowers of her home planet. Mira's heart beat faster as she followed a tall officer down the long corridor. Today was the day she would meet Ryan again, the human warrior she was to marry. Her mind was a storm of questions and worries. What would he say? How would he treat her? Would he be kind, or would he be as cold as the stories said? They stopped before a large door. The officer knocked once and then opened it. Princess Mira, this is Commander Ryan. Mira stepped inside and saw Ryan sitting at a large table covered with star maps and data screens. He looked up and smiled briefly, a small but honest gesture. Princess, Ryan said, standing to greet her. Welcome to the warship Vanguard. Mira felt a little surprised. His voice was calm and strong, not harsh or angry. He was tall and muscular, but his eyes were gentle, showing no sign of cruelty. She tried to smile back. Thank you, Commander, she said. Your ship is very impressive. Ryan nodded. It is built for war, but also for protection. My people and I work hard to keep peace. Mira sat across from him, still nervous but curious. I have heard many stories about you, she said carefully. They say you are a ruthless warrior. Ryan's smile faded. I have fought many battles. Sometimes, I had to be ruthless to protect my people. But I am not cruel without reason. I fight for survival and honor. Mira listened closely. She could see the honesty in his words. Maybe he was not the cold man she had feared. They began to talk about their worlds. Mira shared stories of the Xantari Empire, its beautiful cities, the quiet forests, and the deep rivers that glowed under the twin moons. Ryan told her about Earth, the human home world, a place full of many kinds of people, with mountains, oceans, and wide cities. I have never been to your world, Mira said. Is it very different from ours? Very different, Ryan replied with a small laugh. But humans and Xantari share many things: love, hope, fear. We are not so different, Princess. Mira felt a small warmth in her chest. Maybe their differences were not as large as she thought. Suddenly, the door opened, and a group of officers entered. One of them, a young woman with sharp eyes, bowed respectfully to Mira. Princess, I am Lyra, Ryan's second in command. We are honored to have you here. Mira smiled politely. Thank you, Lyra. It is an honor to meet you. Lyra looked at Ryan and then back to Mira. Commander Ryan speaks highly of you. He believes this union will help both our peoples. Mira nodded slowly. I hope so. After the officers left, Ryan stood and walked toward the large windows that looked out into space. Princess, I want you to know something. I do not want this marriage to be only about politics or power. I want us to understand each other, to build trust. Mira watched him carefully. Trust is difficult when you don't know someone. Ryan turned to face her, his eyes steady. Then let us start now. Tell me your fears. Mira took a deep breath. I fear losing myself, becoming just a tool for politics. I fear being alone in a world that is not mine. Ryan stepped closer, his voice soft. You will never be alone. I promise to protect you and listen to you. I do not want a marriage without respect. Mira's heart beat faster. She did not expect this kindness. For the first time, she felt hope. That evening, Mira was invited to a dinner with Ryan and his crew. The dining hall was large, filled with the quiet noise of conversation and the smell of warm food. The humans were different from the Xanteri, loud, direct, but friendly. One officer, named Kiro, asked Mira many questions about her home, curious and eager to learn. Another, Jorah, shared stories of Earth's past battles, explaining how humans survived through unity and strength. Mira listened and laughed quietly. She saw that humans were not just warriors, they were people with dreams and feelings, just like her. Ryan watched her from across the table, a small smile on his lips. He was pleased to see her relax and join in the conversation. After dinner, Ryan walked Mira back to her quarters. The ship was quiet now, the stars shining bright outside. "Princess," Ryan said softly, "I know this is not easy for you. But I want you to know you can be yourself here. We will face the future together." Mira looked up at him, feeling the weight of his words. "Thank you, Ryan. I want to try. Maybe together, we can find a way." He nodded. "Good. That is all I ask." As Mira settled into her room that night, she felt a new feeling, a mix of fear and hope. Maybe this marriage would be difficult. Maybe there would be challenges ahead. But now, she knew one thing for sure: Ryan was not the ruthless monster she had feared. He was a man with a strong heart, ready to fight not just for war, but for trust and respect. And that was a start. The days passed quickly aboard the human warship Vanguard. Princess Mira and Commander Ryan spent more time together, learning about each other's worlds and ways of life. But despite their growing understanding, their differences soon became clear. One morning, Mira stood in the training room watching the soldiers practice. They moved with strong, quick motions, drilling in techniques she did not know. She had tried to learn some basic self-defense moves, but her graceful Xanteri style was very different from the humans' rough and direct combat. Ryan appeared beside her, arms crossed. "You should try training with us," he said. "It will help you understand." Mira shook her head. "I'm not a warrior like you. My people use peace and skill, not just strength." Ryan smiled, but it was a sharp smile. "Peace is good. But strength keeps peace safe." Mira frowned. "Sometimes, your strength feels like violence. I fear it." Ryan looked serious. "I understand. But you must see, when enemies come, only strength stops them from destroying everything." Mira thought of her home, of quiet lakes and soft music, and then of the harsh battles Ryan described. Their worlds were very different. She wondered if they could ever truly fit together. That afternoon, they shared a meal with the ship's crew. The humans ate quickly and spoke loudly. Mira found their directness shocking, sometimes rude by her standards. Ryan noticed her discomfort. "Our ways are different," he said quietly. "But not wrong." Mira nodded, though she wished things were simpler. She missed the calm of her palace and the gentle voices of her people. Later, in her room, Mira spoke to Talo through a secure message. "Ryan and I are so different. He sees the world through battle and duty. I see it through beauty and peace. How can we make this work?" Talo replied, "Differences can be hard. But they can also make you stronger if you learn from each other." Mira sighed. "I want to believe that." The next day, Ryan invited Mira to observe a training exercise outside the ship. As they watched, the soldiers practiced tactics to defend against an enemy attack. Ryan explained each move clearly, his voice calm but full of passion. "You see, Princess, war is not about hate. It's about protecting those you love. I fight so my people can live in peace." Mira watched his face, seeing honesty and care beneath the warrior's strength. She felt a little closer to him. But then, a sudden alarm rang through the ship. Red lights flashed, and the crew rushed to their stations. "What is happening?" Mira asked, fear tightening her voice. Ryan's expression turned serious. "A small rebel group has attacked a nearby outpost. We must respond." Mira's heart pounded. This was war real and close. Ryan turned to her. "Stay here. You are safe on this ship." Mira shook her head. "No, I want to help. I want to understand." Ryan hesitated, then nodded. "Very well. I will arrange for you to come with me. But you must follow orders." Together, they entered a smaller shuttle and sped toward the outpost. The stars blurred past as Mira gripped the seat tightly. When they landed, chaos met them. Smoke rose from buildings, and distant sounds of fighting echoed. Ryan moved quickly, giving orders with sharp precision. Mira watched in awe as he led the soldiers, calm and fearless. Then, a group of rebels appeared, firing strange energy weapons. Ryan shouted commands, and the soldiers responded with skill and discipline. Mira felt fear, but also awe at their courage. Suddenly, a blast knocked a soldier down near Mira. Without thinking, she rushed forward, pulling the injured man to safety. Ryan saw and nodded approvingly. "You have courage." The fighting ended as quickly as it began. The rebels were driven back, and the outpost secured. Back on the ship, Mira's hands shook as she cleaned a small wound on her arm. Ryan watched her quietly. "You did well today. You faced fear and did not run." Mira smiled weakly. "I learned a little of your world today." Ryan reached out, touching her hand gently. "And I learned a little more about yours." For the first time, their worlds felt not so far apart. That night, as the vanguard sailed through the stars, Mira lay awake thinking. The warrior's life was harsh and fast, but also full of honor. Maybe, she thought, strength and peace could live together not as enemies, but as partners. She looked at the small data screen showing Ryan's ship moving steadily through space. She was scared, yes, but also curious about what the future might hold. A future where a princess and a warrior could find common ground. A future where two very different people might build a new path for their worlds. Days turned into weeks aboard the human warship Vanguard. Princess Mira and Commander Ryan's bond grew slowly but steadily, though the weight of their different worlds still pressed on them. But far beyond the ship, shadows of danger loomed closer. One morning, the ship's communication system beeped loudly, filling the command room with an urgent message. Ryan quickly activated the screen. A star system near the Xantari Empire was under attack by rebels much larger and more organized than before. "The rebellion is growing," Ryan said gravely. "If we do not stop them, the Empire will be in great danger." Mira watched him closely, seeing the hard lines of worry on his face. She had never felt war so close before. The thought of losing everything frightened her deeply. Emperor Callan called a meeting with his closest advisors, including Ryan and Mira. The room was filled with serious faces. "The rebels threaten not only our land but our future," the Emperor said. "Ryan, I trust you will lead the defense." Ryan nodded. "I will do everything to protect the Empire." Mira looked at her father. "May I go with you? I want to help, not just watch." The Emperor hesitated. "It is dangerous, Mira. But if you insist, we will take precautions." Mira felt a surge of determination. She was no longer just a princess who feared change. She wanted to stand beside Ryan and face the future together. The warship quickly prepared for battle. Soldiers checked their weapons and equipment. The air buzzed with tension and quiet resolve. As they approached the rebel-held system, Ryan gathered his team. "We fight to protect our homes, our families, and our people. Stay focused and trust each other." Mira listened, inspired by his confidence. The battle began with sharp blasts of energy lighting up the dark sky. The Vanguard's powerful weapons fired at enemy ships, breaking their formation. From the command room, Mira watched the chaos unfold. Explosions flashed and ships moved swiftly, each action full of danger. Suddenly, a warning sounded. Enemy fighters were moving toward the vanguard. "Shields down," an officer shouted. "We need to protect the ship." Ryan quickly gave orders. "Deploy defense teams. Protect the ship's core." Mira's heart raced as alarms blared around her. She clenched her fists, feeling a strange mixture of fear and excitement. As the fighting raged outside, Ryan suddenly turned to her. "Stay close, Mira. It will be dangerous." Mira nodded, though her legs trembled. Minutes felt like hours as the battle continued. Outside, the rebels launched attack after attack, but Ryan's leadership held strong. He moved like a force of nature, calm, sharp, and unyielding. At one point, a powerful blast shook the ship. Mira stumbled but caught herself. "Are you all right?" Ryan asked, eyes scanning for danger. "I'm fine," she said, though her voice trembled. The battle was intense, but slowly, the vanguard and its allies pushed the rebels back. The enemy began to retreat. After the last enemy ship disappeared, silence fell over the command room. Ryan turned to Mira. "You did well today. You were brave." Mira took a deep breath. "I was scared. But watching you fight. I understand now why strength is necessary." Ryan smiled faintly. "Strength without purpose is danger. But strength to protect is honor." Mira looked at him, feeling respect and something more growing inside her heart. Later, as the ship sailed away from the battlefield, Mira found a quiet place to sit. The stars outside seemed calm again, but she knew the war was not over. She sent a message to Talo back home. "The war is real. I see now what Ryan faces every day. But I believe we can be stronger together." Talo's reply was quick and warm. "You are brave, Mira. Keep your heart open." That night, Ryan came to her room. He stood by the window, looking at the stars. "We both live in worlds of duty and danger," he said softly. "But maybe, together, we can find peace." Mira stepped closer. "I want to believe that. I want to stand by you, no matter what comes." Ryan reached out and took her hand gently. "Then we face the future side by side." The war had shown them the harsh truth of their galaxy. But it had also shown them hope. A hope that two very different people could unite not only their hearts but also their worlds. And as the stars watched silently, a new story began, one of courage, trust, and the promise of a better tomorrow. The day was bright and clear on the Xanteri home planet when Princess Mira and Commander Ryan returned from the warship. The air smelled of fresh flowers and warm sunlight, a stark contrast to the cold metal and harsh battles they had just left behind. But peace was only temporary. The shadows of war still hung over the Empire. Mira felt different now. The fear she once had of Ryan was fading, replaced by a quiet respect. She saw him not just as a warrior, but as someone who fought for more than just victory. He fought for survival and for those he loved. Ryan was called to a meeting with the Emperor and his advisors. The rebel threat was not gone, and the Empire needed a plan for the future. Mira watched from the side, listening carefully as strategies were discussed. The room was tense. Emperor Callan spoke with great concern. "These rebels are clever and dangerous. We must be ready for any attack." Ryan nodded. "I have a plan to secure the borders and protect our people. But it will require trust and cooperation." Mira felt proud watching him lead, his voice calm but strong. After the meeting, Mira and Ryan walked through the palace gardens. The soft breeze rustled the leaves, and the distant sound of birds brought a small smile to Mira's lips. "I want to ask you something," Mira said quietly. Ryan looked at her, waiting. "Do you think, after all this war, we can have a life together? Not just as leaders, but as partners?" Ryan smiled, a rare softness in his eyes. "I hope so. But first, we must face the test of fire. Their moment was interrupted by a sudden alarm. The palace security rushed in. Princess Mira, there has been an attack. Mira's heart raced. Where? Who? The officer's voice was serious. The rebels tried to strike here, in the city. They failed, but some escaped. We must be careful. Ryan's eyes darkened. I will lead the pursuit. Mira took his hand firmly. You will not go alone. Ryan nodded. Then we go together. Within moments, they were outside, moving quickly through the palace halls. Soldiers prepared ships for pursuit. Mira felt a mix of fear and determination. The rebel group had hidden in the nearby mountains. The chase was dangerous, with narrow paths and rocky cliffs. Mira's small shuttle flew close to Ryan's warship, both moving fast and steady. When they landed, the rebels were waiting. A fierce battle began. Laser blasts and energy pulses lit the dark landscape. Ryan fought with skill and strength, directing his team with clear commands. Mira stayed close, helping where she could, her courage surprising even herself. Suddenly, a rebel fired a shot toward Mira. Without hesitation, Ryan stepped in front of her, taking the blast on his shoulder. Mira's breath caught. She rushed to his side, fear and worry flooding her heart. Ryan, she cried, kneeling beside him. He smiled weakly. I'm fine. You must stay strong. Tears filled Mira's eyes, but she held back, focusing on helping him. We must get you to the medics. The battle continued around them, but Mira stayed by Ryan's side, refusing to leave him. When they returned to the palace, the medics treated Ryan's wound. Mira waited anxiously, watching the strong man who had protected her now vulnerable. Ryan reached out, taking her hand. You were brave today. You fought beside me. Mira squeezed his hand. I was scared. But I want to be with you, no matter what. He smiled faintly. That means more than you know. In the days that followed, Ryan's wound healed slowly. Mira stayed by his side, learning more about the strength it took to be a warrior and the courage it took to be a partner. Their bond deepened, no longer just a political alliance but a connection built on trust and shared struggle. One evening, as the sun set over the Zantari city, Mira and Ryan stood together on a balcony, watching the sky change colors. We have faced fire together, Mira said softly. And we are stronger because of it. Ryan nodded. The future will not be easy. But with you, I am ready. Mira smiled, feeling hope bloom in her heart. Their journey was far from over, but now they faced it united two very different people, learning to be one. The days after the battle felt calm but busy. Princess Mira and Commander Ryan worked together to help rebuild trust between the humans and the Zantari. The war had shown how much danger they faced, but it also opened a chance for change. Mira knew this was a difficult time. Many in her empire still feared humans and their ways. Some believed Ryan was too harsh, too focused on war. But Mira saw something different in him, a heart that wanted peace, not just power. One morning, Mira walked through the city's market. She watched people talk quietly about the recent attacks. Some looked worried, others angry. She stopped at a small stall where a vendor sold colorful fabrics. The man looked up and smiled. Princess, it is good to see you. The people need hope. Mira nodded. I want to bring hope to everyone. But it will take time. The vendor said, the humans and Zantari are very different. Many find it hard to trust. Mira sighed but smiled. Then we must build bridges. Back at the palace, Mira met with Ryan and her council. They planned a festival to celebrate the peace. They hoped to create a day where humans and Zantari could come together, share stories, food, and music. Ryan agreed, though he looked serious. It is important. People need to see we can live together. The festival day arrived. The palace grounds were filled with decorations, bright banners, flowers, and lights that glowed under the stars. Humans and Xanteri gathered, some curious, some cautious. Music played, and children from both peoples laughed as they played games together. Mira walked among the crowd, greeting people. She saw smiles and heard stories of hope. Ryan stood nearby, watching the festival with a quiet smile. He spoke to a group of humans, explaining the Xanteri ways and learning about his people's traditions. At one point, a Xanteri elder approached Mira. "Princess, your courage has given us strength." Mira bowed her head. "We must all be brave if we want peace." As night fell, Mira and Ryan stood on a small stage. They spoke to the crowd about unity and the future. "We are different," Mira said. "But our differences can make us stronger." Ryan added, "Together, we can protect what we love. Together, we can build a better tomorrow." The crowd cheered, the sound echoing through the night. Later, as the festival ended, Mira and Ryan walked alone in the quiet gardens. The stars above twinkled softly. "Today was a good day," Mira said. "But there is still much to do." Ryan nodded. "Yes, but we have taken the first step." Mira looked at him. "I am glad you are by my side." He smiled. "I will always be by your side." They stood quietly, feeling the peace of the moment. The path ahead was still full of challenges, but together, they were ready. For the first time, Mira truly believed that two different worlds could come together not just in war, but in hope. The night sky was calm, filled with countless stars. The human crew rested on the hilltop while their small fire glowed softly. Mira, the alien woman they had rescued, sat quietly near the flames. Her repaired suit still carried marks of damage, but it was strong enough now to protect her. She kept looking at the humans with silent curiosity. Armin, the engineer, sat a little away from her, working on a tool. He remembered the first time he had tried to fix her suit. She had pulled back, frightened, saying, "You're too near." Now she sat with them, breathing safely, and he wondered how much had changed since that moment. The night was peaceful, but their journey was far from over. Afsar, the navigator, spread out the star map on the ground. He pointed at the glowing lines. "We have one more day before we reach the valley," he said in a steady voice. "From there, we can build shelter and prepare for anything ahead." The group nodded, though tiredness showed on every face. Mira, the youngest, passed cups of warm tea she had made with herbs. "Drink," she said softly. "We will need strength tomorrow." Even Mira accepted the cup, her long fingers curling around it. For the first time, she drank something offered by humans. Old Karim, the storyteller, broke the silence. "Do you know," he began slowly, "there was once a traveler who saved strangers far from home. People doubted him, yet he gave his hand to those in need. In the end, his kindness built bridges no sword could destroy." The words made Mira raise her eyes. She had never believed kindness could be stronger than power. Her people had been hunted for years, and trust was rare among them. But as she watched the humans share food, warmth, and hope, she began to wonder if perhaps these travelers were different. When the fire burned low, everyone rested. But Armin stayed awake, looking at the stars. Suddenly, his wrist communicator flashed. He tapped it, and the screen showed movement in the sky ships approaching. His heart tightened. These were not human ships. They carried the same signature Mira had described earlier, the enemies searching for her. He rushed to wake Afsar. The navigator scanned the horizon and frowned. "They are coming fast," he whispered. The crew gathered in silence, their faces tense. Mira clutched her bag of herbs, Karim held his walking stick, and Mira's hands trembled slightly. "They found me," she said in a low voice. Armin looked at her. "No," he replied firmly. "They found us. And we will not leave you." The captain of the crew, an older man named Rahim, spoke calmly. Listen. We must move quickly. If we stay here, they will trap us. But if we reach the valley, the mountains may hide us. The group began their descent in the dark, guided only by the faint light of stars. Every step was heavy, but fear gave them speed. Behind them, the hum of engines grew louder. The alien ships were searching, sweeping the land with beams of light. At one point, a bright beam passed close to them. Mira froze, fear in her eyes. But Armin caught her arm. Trust me, he whispered. For a heartbeat, she hesitated, but then she moved with him, staying close to the group. Hours passed, and finally, the valley opened before them. Tall trees and deep shadows stretched across the land. They rushed into the cover of the forest just as the enemy ships flew overhead. The beams of light crossed the ground, but the humans and Mira were hidden by the trees. They held their breath as the ships passed. The sound of engines slowly faded, leaving only silence. At last, Rahim whispered, "We are safe for now." The group collapsed in exhaustion, but relief filled their hearts. Mira looked at Armin, her voice trembling. "You risked everything for me." "Why?" Armin wiped the sweat from his forehead. His voice was calm, but strong. "Because that is what humans do. We don't walk away when someone needs us. Even if the world says you are not ours, we choose to stand with you." Mira had no words for a moment. In her heart, a strange warmth grew. She had always believed survival meant running alone. But these humans showed her another way, a way where trust and unity were stronger than fear. As dawn broke, the valley glowed with light. Birds sang, and a river shimmered in the distance. The crew gathered at the edge of the forest, watching the new day rise. It felt like the beginning of something greater. Karim spoke softly, almost like a prayer. "The stars are wide, and the journey is long. But remember, together, no darkness can defeat us." Mira looked at the humans standing beside her. For the first time, she did not feel alone. She felt part of something larger, something powerful. She whispered, "Perhaps near is not danger. Perhaps near is hope." Armin smiled at her words, and the crew began walking toward the heart of the valley, ready to face whatever the universe would send next.